Welcome to NFL News Update, where touchdowns meet headlines. Stay in the game with the freshest NFL updates. This is your quick dive into football fervor.
Packers DT Kenny Clark, new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley will allow us to be way more disruptive. The Packers defense has for so long been a case of broad talent, limited execution. Green Bay's introduction of Jeff Hafley as the team's defensive coordinator is meant to change that, and Kenny Clark believes the new coach will specifically let him and the defensive line amp up the aggression. Fiery, his energy, he's going to bring it, Clark said this week regarding his first impression of Hafley, per the team website. He's going to challenge everybody to be great. That's what you want as a coach. You want them to hold guys accountable. I think this scheme, it'll be good for us up front. It's going to allow us to be way more disruptive. Hafley's hiring comes in the wake of an up-and-down season for Green Bay's defense. The unit ended up 10th in scoring and 17th in yards, allowed despite the bottom seemingly falling out during a December stretch that saw the Packers lose to undrafted rookie quarterback Tommy DeVito and the Giants, allow Baker Mayfield a perfect 158.3 passer rating at Lambeau Field, and surrender both the most points and yards the 2-15 Panthers managed all season. Green Bay rebounded at the very end of the season and into the playoffs with a number of inspiring performances under Joe Barry, but it wasn't enough to save the former coordinator's job, nor was the overall output indicative of the talent on the roster. Since Clark was drafted in the first round by the Packers in 2016, Green Bay has spent 7 more first-round picks on the defensive side of the ball. Many have obviously come and gone, but Jordan Love remains the team's only day-one offensive selection in the last dozen drafts. With the rest of the defensive team building the Packers have done outside of just those early selections, Hafley has much at his disposal to kick Green Bay's defense into another gear, which starts with a leader like Clark up front, but will be reflected in a different philosophy rippling through every level. Hafley's specialization was with defensive backs before becoming Boston College's head coach and then jumping to the NFL as Green Bay's DC. He favors a press-man scheme, different from how Green Bay operated for the majority of the past few seasons, and a style with success, often contingent on a powerful pass rush. That's what Clark hopes to provide under the new approach, which will ask him to more frequently attack gaps rather than swallow up blocks at the line of scrimmage. I've always been a technical guy, but it's going to give that mentality to just cut it loose more within the defense, he said. That suits my game well, especially with my get-off and how I play technique. Clark was third on the team last year with a career-high 7.5 sacks, bringing his total to 34 as a pro. Still just 28 heading into his 9th NFL season, the 3-time Pro Bowler is a pending free agent in 2025 due to the void years on his current deal. If he and the rest of the defensive line are disruptive as he hopes under Hafley, the Packers could make even more noise than they did last year in the NFC, and Clark could find himself in line for another lucrative contract. Cowboys' John Fassel on Micah Parsons returning kicks. He would be fantastic. There's a new and intriguing kickoff rule set to debut in the NFL in the 2024 season. Might it open up new opportunities for some high-profile players? Perhaps. Might one of them be Dallas Cowboys' do-it-all defensive dynamo Micah Parsons? Perhaps not. Discussing the upcoming changes to kickoffs, Cowboys special teams coordinator John Fassel admitted he'd love to have the playmaking Parsons back to return kicks, but he knows that's truly fantasy football. You know Micah, so he has lobbied me in the past to just be the primary kickoff returner, Fassel said on a recent edition of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. I'm like, Micah, that's the question. You got to go a little further up than me on that one. But would I love to see him back there? Absolutely, because he would be fantastic. He would catch it and he'd run wild and he'd probably get incredible yards. But that ain't going to happen. I'm aware of that. Parsons is one of the most dominant defenders in all the NFL land and one of the finest players in the league overall. To a big money second contract in the future, Parsons isn't about to be put into peril returning kicks, but it's nice to imagine the possibilities. Exceptional as an off-ball backer and a pass rusher, Parsons has been a Pro Bowler in each of his 3 seasons and is a 2-time All-Pro. His mix of power, speed, and versatility leads the mind to wonder just what other aspects of the game who could excel at. However, The 24-year-olds played just 15 special teams snaps over 3 years, with 14 coming as a rookie and just 1 in 2023. Still, Fassel can dream, and he knows Parsons would likely shine returning kicks or covering them. Fassel first glimpsed Parsons doing the latter while scouting Penn State during his time with the Los Angeles Rams. "I remember watching Micah on kickoff coverage at Penn State as a freshman because I was scouting Nick Scott, a player we had drafted to the Rams," Fassel said. "Then I was looking at Cam Brown also, but who's that guy on kickoff when Parsons was a freshman? Then, you look him up, I don't know who he is, but he'll probably be all right someday." But Micah has asked about being a primary kickoff returner that hasn't been allowed yet, probably not going to be allowed unless you say, "Hey, in the game we're down by 6, and there's 8 seconds left in the game, and we got to score a touchdown and kick return to win it." Maybe we put Micah back there as a second returner. Maybe. But it's next door to certain that Parsons won't be returning kicks for the Cowboys anytime soon. The quandary was presented by Tucker as he and Fassel addressed the new kickoff rule and just how much it will affect the game in 2024 after kickoff returns basically became extinct in 2023. In the upcoming season, all kicking players, other than the kicker, will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. The team cannot move until the kickoff hits the ground or a player in the landing zone, between the receiving team's goal line and 20-yard line, or end zone. The rule will surely increase the amount of kickoff returns and could even see teams go back to fielding 2 returners. While Parsons becoming a second returner is certainly an intriguing prospect, the Cowboys have former Pro Bowler Kevontae Turpin. Turpin's presence, combined with the comeback of the kick return, has Fassel excited. "I mean, there's so much to dive into, which is cool because the creative part of the game is going to go way up," Fassel said. "Last year, to be honest, we ran 1 kickoff return the entire season because we knew we were going to return 1 ball every 2 games. Kevant Turpin had 10 returns on kickoffs the whole season. So it's changing the whole game for us as coaches and players, which is good."